Cancer, there's no doubt that last month was an epic, maybe challenging month for all signs. And I think these are beginning to work their way through this month. And for you in particular, there are two energies that I can see that would normally disturb me. Well, I mean, they do disturb me. I think they've come out of the previous month. The first is that central card, the devil card, unhealthy attachments, maybe even addictions. And the other card is in the past, bottom right, the death card, abrupt and unhappy ending. However, somehow I can see great hope in this reading, almost as though these were necessary things for you to go through. The first card, or your current energy, is that of the Chariot. A sense of balance, a sense of knowing where you're going and moving quickly towards it. In the future, it sees you really action planning, maybe planning quite radically different things to how you've lived your life so far, planning a completely new course of action, which I do see as a good thing. So I think last month was a cathartic month, and this month is it bedding down. You're obviously trying to make sense of this. You're going inside yourself for answers, and frankly, I think that's the best way to go about things. Yes, you will miss some opportunities, but in general, you should find the answers you need within yourself. What would change the outcome is the burden you feel. You feel an immense burden, like you're carrying the world on your back. And I think we all feel that. But it's not going to lead to any good. We need to release control to the universe. Because of that discard of the burden, attempting to control would change the outcome. And the outcome is a great outcome. It's an outcome of karmic judgment. And what I think it's saying is that those who've wronged us, those who've lied, cheated, put themselves before others, are going to be punished by the universe. And I think we can all feel that happening right now. Maybe it's happening slower than you might expect, but of course it's not our time, but divine timing. And it's only our desire to control that makes us feel that way. So I do see it as actually a positive reading, a reading where we've got to get away from how we have been and move to the new paradigm that started last year, but that we're all somewhat coming to terms with. And I think this reading is simply about you coming to terms with that. Now, we do have this devil card, which always disturbs me, and particularly having it in this position. However, as I say, I'm not terribly concerned about this spread. I see it as a cathartic thing. It's sort of an opportunity to get rid of these unhealthy attachments. And if you look at this rendering, you can see they're chained to that rock with the devil above them. But the collars that they have look as though they could slip them off if only they had the will to do it. And I think that's what this reading really is about, you finding the will to rid yourself of these attachments. And so, well, yeah, I mean, April's not going to be an easy month for you, but I do see it as this golden opportunity to change your life, as it were. And of course, this energy runs through all the other cards, so I need to recognise it in all the other energies that I spot. Now we've just had the devil, and now we have the death card. So to get the devil and the death card in a single spread, it's not a good sign. But what I would say is this death card is in the past. So it's a sudden and unexpected and probably unwelcome major change within your life. And now I think we've all undergone something like that fairly recently. It could be about the ending of a cycle, and have you learned from that cycle? Again, I somehow feel that it's necessary. It's a part of this catharsis that I speak of. So I'm not overly concerned about it, but it will be affecting you throughout, certainly the month of April, and probably some bitter memories and feelings there. Now, I say that ending will be affecting you, and right now we have the Chariot card, which is normally a very good energy. It's an energy of balance, it's an energy of fast-paced movement. It's energy of knowing where you're going and why you're going there. Are you rebuilding your life after that energy of death? I think it's highly likely. And providing you're going in the right direction, then this is an extremely good thing. But of course, we do have this devil card, unhealthy attachments, which might suggest that you're going off in the wrong direction. I honestly don't know. And what I would say to you is that certainly by the end of the month, if I'm right that it's the wrong direction, things do get sorted. It's a bit like, I've been a victim of narcissism my entire life. And the fact that I see myself as a victim and continue to think about it means that they continue to have a hold on me. And so it's that sort of a thing that you must rid yourself of. So even though you've got this wonderful sense of direction, maybe it's a reaction to what you've been through. In the future, you're planning something very different, something very radical. You look at it, he's looking overseas. So are you thinking of going somewhere overseas? It's possible, or somewhere new, something very different. And juxtapositioned with this is the future, with your current energy, which has a wonderful sense of direction. I wonder if this month causes you to step back a little and to think, well, maybe that direction isn't the right direction. If I think about things a little bit more and plan things a little bit more, maybe there is another direction. And that direction is probably quite radical. Probably breaking off the chains of this unhealthy attachment addiction, which I'm beginning to see maybe isn't an addiction at all. It's a reaction to things that have happened to you. You reacting to things that have gone on in your life, but not reacting in the right way. Whereas I do see this card, or this energy here, very positively. And maybe confirming my feelings. We have this Four of Cups energy, quiet contemplation, thinking about things. Maybe you're missing some opportunities as a result, but I think this is a really good thing, particularly given that we've got both the devil and the death card within this spread. It's you evaluating yourself, evaluating your feelings, evaluating your inner self, as it were, which would really be essential to this planning stage, that or action planning that is in the future. So I think this is exactly the right thing to be doing. Contemplation leads to the outcome, and I think the outcome is exceedingly positive. What would change the outcome? Maybe not change it completely, but, well, it could do, is a feeling of burden. Now, we've got this feeling of loss from the past. If you focus on that loss and the burden that it's created, then it's going to change the outcome, and I think this is a negative thing to do. What I would say to you is this feeling of burden is temporary. You're nearly at the end. So maybe it's not the end of the world, as it were, but it'd be better that if you could not focus on this burden that you feel, and really, as I say, go inside yourself and understand what's going on in your mind, maybe in the world. I think that would be a better strategy. Because the outcome is the judgment card. This is a day of judgment. This is karmic judgment. And I think we're all aware of this. I think we're aware of the greed, the deception, the lies, the manipulation that have gone on in our lives. And we're aware that those responsible are beginning to get their comeuppance. It's slow. I mean, things don't move according to our time. And my youngest stepdaughter's just come to visit us in Java because we got a new kitten. And yesterday the electricity was off for not quite 24 hours, but nearly, certainly the whole day. And of course, not only does that mean there's no internet, it also means there's no water being pumped, so it's difficult even to take a wash. And she was getting frantic at being here with there being no internet, nothing to do, even though she'd come to visit the kitten. And there was a sort of, I wouldn't say an outburst, but at the end of the day, she wanted to get back to Jakarta as quickly as she could, and was even wanting to go then and there, which is pretty much impossible, you know. And maybe it's because I've been up in the mountains so long, but I just take these things in my stride. I rather liked the fact that there was no electricity for a day. It gave me time to think, gave me time to contemplate. So, you know, things don't happen as quickly as we would like them to. Things don't happen as we expect them to. But this karmic justice is coming, and I believe it changes your life. Seeing this happening completely changes your life. And maybe it's this that is the catharsism that I'm seeing in this reading. Now, I really haven't been taking clarification this month. I don't know why, I just got the feeling to stop doing it. And now I can post-decision rationalise it, which is common. You know, this is what we all do, even in scientific research. We now believe that most of the justification that is done is post-result. It's not following the scientific method. But it's just a feeling I've got. But I've decided that maybe I should clarify, and I'm going to clarify this devil card. What's it about? Two of Wands. Decisions to make. Three of Pentacles. Working as a team. And finally, the orchard, which is common only to this deck. And I read it as being that life is what you make of it. So am I right? Let's see. So remember, we're clarifying this unhealthy attachments card. And we have this Two of Wands, which is about decisions to make, direction. I think how we should read it is you attempting to control things, over-control things. Now, we all do that, but the messages I'm getting for this year, and particularly this month, are that we should submit a little bit more and stop attempting to control. After all, it's this fetishism of control that's got us into the problems we're in now. So I think your unhealthy attachment is just a little bit of control freakery, if you like. And we now have the Three of Pentacles. It's a card of teamwork, card of working with others, even though this rendering doesn't suggest that. But it's also a card of understanding the opinions, the different beliefs of others, accepting the beliefs of others. And I wonder if you were very... well, I suppose there's two ways you could see this. One is that you're very controlling. You have a very firm worldview and your way is the right way. Or the alternative is, if you remember, we had that death card, and I gave my little talk about narcissism. Is it that you've allowed yourself to be dominated by the views of others? Could be either. I don't think it matters. What it's certainly suggesting to me is that we shouldn't be too concerned about this devil energy. And this final card of clarity, I think, does say that this devil energy is nothing so much. It's the orchard card, and you only get this in this particular deck. And the instructions on it say that it can be anything you want it to be. But I always read into it that life is what you make of it. So, I've said, well, this devil energy, their collars, where they could slip them over their neck. And this devil energy only exists if you allow it to exist. So I really do believe that this reading is about you beginning to understand that and to overcome your desire for control and submitting a little bit to the universe. Cancer, we have two cards or energies in this spread that might send you running for the hills, but I don't think you should be too concerned. I think this is a very cathartic month for you. But those two energies are firstly that of the devil, unhealthy attachments, and secondly, admittedly in the past, that of the death card, sudden and untimely endings. And I think your world has changed, and I think it's changed because you've allowed others to dominate your thinking, and everything came tumbling down. And as a result of that, you're anxious to put things right, to rebuild your life. But I suspect you're running off in the wrong direction. But there's so much that's great in this reading, despite those two cards, because you do exactly the right thing, and that's to start contemplating. thinking about your situation, maybe thinking about the universe, but certainly giving great inner thought to things. You may miss opportunities as a result, but I think it's exactly the right thing to be doing. I suspect as a result of this ending, you're feeling a tremendous burden. And the advice is not to allow that to get to you too much. Not to allow your thinking, oh, I must do this, I must do that. Because I get the impression you're something of a control freak. And I think this whole reading is asking you to relax. And now we're all very aware that we've been manipulated, we've been lied to by those who are putting greed before others. And I think we're all very aware that there is a karmic judgment already happening for them. Being a bit of a control freak, maybe it can't come too soon for you. But this is divine timing. It's not in your power to control it. So I think you learn the lesson of relaxing and submitting. And as a result, in the future, you begin to really plan. Plan maybe for something very different, very radical in your life. Having rid yourself of this desire to control everything.